Okay, so the next position, we're going to look at a pass. Okay, Marcin's got me in half guard. As you can see, he's got one of my legs. He's got his legs crossed behind my leg. So I'm going to look at how to get out of this position and get to a better position. Okay, so look, first thing I want to try and do, if you remember before we talked about the underhook. Okay, and I have a little golden rule: the underhook always wins in half guard. Okay, not always, but most of the time. So look, I'm going to come forward and get this underhook. Now, as you can see, Marcin's on his side. I need to try and get Marcin flat to this floor if I can. Okay, and I'm going to do that by pushing my weight forward. Okay, and I'm also going to cup the shoulder and then put my head on this side. Okay, I'm going to use my forehead on the floor, but what I want you to do as well is try and use the side of your head onto his side of the head and create a lot of pressure, and that's again is going to let you get this shoulder to the floor. So it looks like this. I'm going to cup the shoulder, okay, head on the floor, look, and I'm going to push his head to the side. Now you've got two options from here. I can use my hand for base, okay, or I can control this elbow. Okay, they both work, okay, but some people need a little bit more balance than others. Okay, so look, if I have my hand out here, look, I'm going to go to my toes and stand up. The whole time I'm doing this, I've got pressure against Marcin's head with my head on the floor, and I'm keeping my elbow nice and tight to his ribs so he can't regain an underhook. Okay, last thing I want is to give him space and him to re-pummel like this. Now I've got to do the whole process again. Okay, so look, put the shoulder nice and tight with your elbow, head on the floor, push his head to the side. Hand, okay, onto your feet. Now look, I'm going to put my bum straight in the air. I'm going to shake my knees until my knee comes free. Can you see how I can wiggle it? Now look, as soon as I can wiggle it, I'm going to put it to the floor. From here, as we mentioned before, I'm going to control the tricep over the top, not underneath. Okay, look, on top. I'm going to pinch my elbow to my rib. Here, lift up and start sliding my knee. If you get to this point where you can't, look, all I'm going to do is I'm either going to kick the top or the bottom. Okay, so look, I'm going to kick back. Now my foot's free. So look, base, slide. One big mistake when you do pass this guard and you get to this position, modified scarf, is have your head up. Okay, if I've got both my feet forward like this and I've got my head up, my scene's just going to reverse the position and I have to start all over again. Okay, so once we land into this position here, look, I've got my foot back onto my toes. I'm also on my toes on my front. Okay, I'm not being lazy. I'm going to hug the shoulder, elbow in, keep hold of the tricep, and I'm going to keep my bum slightly off the floor so that I've got pressure on his floating rib at the bottom. Okay, just like this. Okay, now, from here, I'm not going to stay here too long. I'm going to look at getting back to the side control. How we do this is we walk the hips back, because look, if I just turn to side control here, this knee is going to come up and I'm going to waste the position. Look, watch. If I just turn to side control, watch the bottom knee. Okay, so you can see that I've wasted the position and Marcin's regained his guard. So from here, look, this is how we stop this from happening. I'm going to go onto my toes and I'm going to walk back and force his knees in the opposite direction. Okay, watch, look, walk back, lift the elbow up. Now look, when I go side control, it's not possible for him to regain the guard. Okay, one more, nice and fast. So we're in half guard here. Okay, I need to get this underhook and I need to get Marcin flat. Okay, so I'm going to put my chest heavy, cup the shoulder. Now to get him even more flat, control, head on the floor, push. Now I need to get my knee out. So I'm going to go onto my toes, up. Shake, shake, shake until your knee comes free. Now get your knee to the ground. Here. Now look, I'm going to lift, put this foot forward. Now try and get my hip to the floor. Sometimes it'll come out. If it doesn't, look, pop the foot off, top or bottom. If you're struggling for balance here, you can even use your hand. Kick, slide out, onto your toes, head forward, chest low. Here. Now we want to transition back to side control. So look, I'm going to walk my feet back. Now look at his knees facing the other way. Lift the arm up, side control. Remember, come under the neck, hands on my feet together. That's a half guard pass to side control.